We gotta air it out. Let's air it out. So we gotta air it out. Let's air it out. So
Air it out. Air it out.
air it out.
What's going on, guys? It's the Air It Out podcast, your favorite pro football podcast, and I am glad to be here with my guys all up in here. I got my man Darius right here. How you doing, Darius? Are you muted? You muted? I think you're muted, sir. I think you muted yourself. You know you're not. Consider muted. No. Oh, Darius.
He all the way.
Right.
All you see is this.
All we saw was the flag.
Patriot season or something. It's Belichick revenge tour.
We can't hear you, man. Your mic is off or something.
Oh
dog.
man.
I don't know. All right, well, whatever you're saying, we don't care anyway. We got my man, the coach, Mr. Darren Braxton down there. What's up, coach?
Not much. Listen, I've been waiting for this episode, honestly, because of some fact I get to talk with the running backs. And my list is going to be good, but it might surprise y'all just who I leave off.
Okay. And, of course, we got Mr. Avery Collins. How you doing, sir?
I said, yeah, everybody good. I'm chilling. You know what I mean? I'm blessed. I'm highly favored. Can't complain. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, just a little piece of clarity, his name was not on the list. Andre Johnson, Randy Moss, Marcus Colston, Terrell Owens, Mike Sims Walker, Randy Moss, and Steve Smith. I told you, nobody, absolutely nobody messes with Larry. That man fits. Gerald, okay? Darius, we still can't hear you, but just letting you know.
It's very different, man. That's a different boy right there.
You might got to jump out and jump.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
All right, there we go.
Oh, there he is.
The Patriot fan himself is back.
I don't have the jersey on, but next week.
It's someone's revenge tour.
Definitely. Listen, before we got on air, we were talking receivers that killed the Eagles because Mr. Avery Collins is going to come all heavy talking about the Falcons going to beat the Eagles. And I'm like, nobody can stay on Darius Slay on the Falcons, man. And, they don't have Julio Jones anymore. So I'm a little excited about that. And as you guys know, I moved down to Georgia. So I'm going to be trying to get to that game for sure, week 1. But
we got the Julio Jones of tight ends, baby. What you talking about?
Oh man.
Just don't blow the lead again, Avery.
The rookie.
Come on.
Ooh!
Hopefully you guys learned from last year.
That's a reach.
Oh, listen, man. But we're here today, man. We're gonna talk some football. We're gonna talk some good stuff, as Darren already talked about. But we want to get to our first topic, a little heavy topic, something that just happened just recently. We're gonna talk. Richard Sherman is in some trouble. So he been in the news lately. About so there's reports about domestic violence, reports about a possible robbery, car crash. Something's going on right now. So Richard Sherman is in the news, man. I don't want to hear you guys' opinion on what's going on, and do you think that this is the end of his career? I'm gonna start with Darren with this. How do you feel about this whole Richard Sherman situation?
So I'm actually a little bit shocked to see this happen, especially with a guy of that intelligence. He always carried himself as a really good guy on and off the field, and just to hear some of the things that's coming out about him going on right now, it kind of shocks me. So I don't know what to truly believe, and I'm not trying to speculate. So I'm going to let it play out in court, see what happens, and then get all the full details. But what I don't like is the fact that he's not signed somewhere. This is going to hurt his chance of getting signed this year. He was already a guy that is a bit older and longer in the tooth. Yes, he's the guy we know and the guy from the Legion of Boom, but he's getting older. He's not as quick. He's not as agile. And he needed to sign with the team during training camp. With this going on, it's going to be a lot harder for him to sign, especially with him being his own agent. So I would love to see how those conversations go right now for him.
Definitely. Before I let everybody else go, first and foremost, thank everybody that is viewing the podcast right now. We got a lot of people in here. So, first and foremost, thank you for being here. What's up? Thank you all. Get your shout outs in. Come in, and if you have any comments, if you guys want to say anything about what we're talking about, definitely come in the comments. We do live commentary and put your comments in here. So definitely, if you guys want to chat it up, we are a live podcast. We do live interactions. So Derrick, I want to know how you feel about this entire Richard Sherman situation.
I agree with Darren. When we look at Richard Sherman, right, this is a guy who carries himself well, right? No off the field issues prior to this. A guy who's very intelligent. I believe he went to Stanford University. When he went on First Take, he was schooling Stephen A. Smith and not Stephen A. He was schooling. I think it was who's the guy that works for Shannon Sharp now? Skip. Yeah, he was schooling Skip Bayless and different things like that. So this is a guy who, when you read something like this, you're kind of like, wait a minute, Richard Sherman, right? The guy that's in the Legion of Boom. Like, this guy, you sure that this is the guy that's in the news? But it's a situation where we kind of just got to get more details to really base a more of a judgment. But I think as far as his NFL career, it's kind of in the air right now, right? And I think it's really once he hurt, when he got injured, when he went to San Fran, we saw in the Super Bowl, right? Sammy Watkins exposed him. We saw that he's not the same Richard Sherman that he was when he was in the Legion of Boom, when he was trash talking about let a sorry receiver like Michael Crabtree try me. You know what I mean? This is not that same Richard Sherman. But one thing he can bring if he does get signed to a team, and I think if he does, is going to be in the middle of the season, that veteran leadership, that veteran mentality, that win mentality, because he is, a top corner. When he was in the league, he was a top corner in the league. So he can bring that mentality. And he could just bring that leadership to the younger guys that are trying to really mold themselves into a top corner in the league. But I don't think I think this is going to delay his status of getting signed in training camp, because, in training camp comes, when you sign a player that has a lot of off the field issues, what do reporters do? They ask those questions. They're not going to ask football questions. They're going to ask those type of questions. So I think teams probably know that. And also they're kind of like us. They want to see how this is going to unfold. And then they're going to base their decision of, hey, are we going to bring this guy in at least for a workout for us?
Definitely. Avery, you want to comment on this situation?
Yeah, man. So there's a couple things that I'm feeling. I'm wondering if him not getting signed and different things like that, if that's playing a part in maybe affecting his mental health, his mental stability, just kind of like where he's at right now, just feeling like, I have more to give, and I'm one of the top corners in the league. I've been one of the top corners in the league, since my second year in the league, really. And so it could be one of those situations where he feels like I got a lot more to give. I didn't have a terrible year last year. I just, he was hurt and different things like that. But when he was on the field, he was productive. And obviously, 2 years removed from a Super Bowl, right? And he was one of the anchors to that defense. So, and he's done that on two separate teams now. So feeling like I said, feeling like he's still productive and can be a good guy, but not getting signed, especially this late in the offseason, maybe playing an issue with his mental health. I'm not sure, but potentially. Second part is he knows he's getting up in age, so now he knows he has to start thinking about life after football and contemplating retirement, and maybe he hasn't had anything set up, and maybe that's affecting him. Maybe he's saying, just give me one more year to kind of play so I can kind of work some things out and get some things, on the back end squared away. So my main concern is his mental health, where his mental health is right now, if this is a reason why he's acting out, because to Darius' point, prior to this, he has had no off the field issues. He's had no real problems outside of, him
trash talking.
Yeah, I was gonna say him being just a trash talker. But so I'm wondering what's going to happen. I hope that is a situation that he just kind of had an off day, and that it kind of gets taken care of. But I'm not sure. And as Darius said, we got to wait to see how it plays out.
Yeah, for him to be a guy that I defended a lot because, to Avery's point, like he's a guy that never really got in trouble. He got a lot of scrutiny because he talked a lot, and hated the fact that he was being labeled as a thug when he really wasn't. And it just the persona that he had on the field, but off the field, he wasn't really like that. And to hear something like this kind of breaks my heart a little bit because I always defended him like, man, this guy, everybody was hating on him because he was such a trash talker, but he was up and coming and starting to really show his skills in the NFL at that time. And that kind of died off, which was great for him. And I thought that was great that, all that died off for him. But it stinks that something like this will come out and, it was like it wasn't just like a single report. It was a report, like a couple of different reports with him being in trouble. So it's a little disheartening for me because, Richard Sherman was a guy that I really liked. And I crafted a lot of my cornerback skills. As you guys know, I played cornerback too. I crafted a lot of my cornerback skills from him with his, he wasn't always the fastest guy, but he was very smart and, he really crafty. So I hope everything goes well with him. I hope all this kind of blows over, and I really do hope he still has a career in the NFL. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Go ahead, Edgar.
And I just want to say, because there's multiple reports that he was saying that he was going to kill himself. And so that's where I question if this is a mental health thing more than anything, right? I don't think this is a Richard Sherman characteristic thing. I think it's a Richard Sherman is going through something mentally, a transition in his life that he may not be handling the best. So, my prayers and thoughts go out to him and everyone in that situation for that fact. But just, I agree with you. I would love to see him back in the NFL because clearly it's something that, unfortunately, I think he may identify himself through playing football. And it's unfortunate because a lot of athletes do that. They tie their identity to the sport that they played. And so you see them after that season of their life is over, they don't know how to adjust. So I'm just hoping that he gets the help that he needs if that is in fact the case. But more importantly, I'm hoping to see him, potentially back on the field because, again, he's still a productive football player when he's there.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. All right, let's move on to something a little bit more lighthearted, to get off of that news. We're going to talk the top 3 running backs, and that's going into the 2021 season. So I want you guys to name 3 guys you think are going to be an outstanding running back in 2021. So this is not a career running back. This is not, last year's running back. This is 2021. And I'm going to start with Avery on this one. 3 guys that you have that you think are going to be the best 3 running backs in 2021.
Cool. All right, I'm going to start with 2 honorable mentions. One is going to be Miles Sanders. I think Miles Sanders is going to have a really, really good year this year if he can stay healthy. The backfield with him and Jalen Hurts, 2 guys that, Jalen, we know he can run the football, he can move, he's a mobile quarterback and all those things. It looks like their offensive line is going to be predicated to run the football and play off of play action. So I think because Miles Sanders not only is just a guy who can run the football, but he can catch the ball at the backfield, I think that he's going to have a phenomenal season. I wouldn't be surprised if he moves himself into the top 3, but I'll give him an honorable mention here. To be a really, really good running back this coming year. And then my other honorable mention is just from a pure running back standpoint. This is somebody who's not extremely flashy. He's not the best catcher out the backfield. He's not a finesse guy. But when it comes from the definition of someone who's just a traditional running back, Josh Jacobs. I think Josh Jacobs is going to have a really good year. He's one of the most toughest, hard-nosed runners in the NFL. And he's a guy that just does exactly what you want him to do. Get out and go forward. That's it. That's all you want from the guy is to go forward, right? Get yards. And so for me, I think those are the 2 guys that I'm going to have as honorable mentions here. I wanted to throw Antonio Gibson in as an honorable mention, but I'm still not sure what's going on with the sport, we'll see. But so I'll go start with number 3. I'm going to go number 3. I think Derrick Henry is still going to do his thing, right? And the only reason I say number 3, I mean, he could lead the league in rushing again. He can even lead the league in rushing touchdowns. But because he's not a catcher out the backfield, and that's the way the trend is going for running backs, I think his versatility is a little bit limited in that regard. So I'm going to put him at number 3. Not leaving him out the top 3 because he's Derrick Henry. But for the last 2 years, he's literally led the league in rushing. And, wow, that's petty.
Darren, you're going to have to clap back at that one.
That's petty.
Chris is going crazy right now.
That is petty. But
I'm leaving it be. I ignore all of our hate. It's cool.
But yeah, so I can't leave him out the top. I can't leave him out the top 3 because he's led the league in rushing the last 2 years. He had over 2,000 last year. He's just a hard-nosed runner. He gets better as the season goes along. You know he's getting the ball, and you still can't stop him. I mean, he's a man's man amongst men. Like he really is. And so I got to go Derrick Henry there. Number 2, I'm going to go with Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb is going to be a really good running back as he's been since he's come into the league. I hope he gets to play all year. I think if he can play all year and stay healthy, I think they may even lean on Kareem Hunt just a little bit more in order to take some of the pressure off him, keep him healthy. But I still think we're looking at over 1,200 rushing yards. I could see over 500 catching yards as well because of the fact that he can catch the football at the backfield. I know Kareem Hunt is used more for that in that offense, but it doesn't mean that Nick Chubb can't do it. It's just that Kareem Hunt may just be better at it. So I think he's going to be number 2. I wanted to be a homer here and throw Mike Davis in there somewhere just because I think that honestly, I mean, because and everybody's laughing, but think about what he did for the Panthers.
No, he's a good running back. I like him coming out of college.
I was saying, think about what he did for the Panthers last year after Christian McCaffrey went down. He really balled out and kept them in some of those games. He showed that he could catch the ball. He obviously showed that he could run the football and different things like that. He's not on the McCaffrey level or anything like that, but for me, number 1, as much as I wanted to go Dalvin Cook, I can't go Dalvin Cook because I feel like he's got a lot of weapons on the outside. As much as I wanted to go Alvin Kamara, the lack of Drew Brees scares me. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. I think that's going to lower his touches in the passing game. So I think we're going to see potentially some things different in that offense. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, and this is purely based on bias and based on production of what I've seen. Bias and production. And actually, and hope. And this is my hope. I hope he bounces back from his injury. I think Saquon Barkley is going to be the number 1 running back in the NFL this year. I think that he's going to show everybody that injury was nothing to me. My quads are still bigger than all of yours. My calves are one of your quads. You know, one of my calves is one of your quads. And we talk about somebody who, again, he does things that you don't see on the football field, especially for somebody that size. The stuff that he does, I'm expecting to see Chris McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt type running backs do. He's twisting and turning and cutting and shifting, and then he's still stiff arming and running over and jumping over and hurdling and outrunning and doing all of those things. You're like, you're 230 pounds, dude. 235 to be exact. Like, what is going on here? So it's just like for him to be as agile, as nimble as he is, I think because the Giants' offensive line has gotten that much better, I think because they've gotten more weapons on the offensive side, on the outside as well, bringing in Kenny Galladay and different things like that, it'll take some pressure off. Daniel Jones will have some weapons. I think Saquon Barkley reclaims his title as the number 1 back in the league. And so those are my 3: Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, and Saquon Barkley.
All right. Darren, I'm going to allow you to redeem yourself after that Lamar Jackson comment.
So first off, Lamar Jackson's still going to have at least 800 rushing yards and still going to throw for over 3,000 yards. Let's just put that out there.
Hashtag 350.
Hey, listen.
Hashtag.
But this is why I really wanted this conversation, because my top list is going to have no Barkley, no McCaffrey on it. And it's only because, and this is something that you're going to see with me going into next year. I don't like to rank too highly of guys that's coming off of bad injuries.
Yeah.
McCaffrey, Barkley, guys like Derwin James, things like that. I don't want to rank them too high. They have all the potential in the world. They're great players. And they can get to that status, but you're not always going to see things like what happened to Adrian Peterson in 2012. Someone tear their ACL and they come back and
ACL, PCL, and MCL. He tore
and one MVP.
Listen,
MVP.
And that's my point. You don't see that happen often. So I want to see how those guys come back, see if they're able to cut, see if they're still able to do everything like they can.
Time
and
out.
Still be that great guy.
I'm sorry. I know this is off the cuff. He blew his knee all the way up. He came back and rushed for 2,000 yards, got the MVP, and he's not only that, he's still playing, y'all. Like he's really
comeback player of the year, MVP, and it went to the playoffs.
And that's why I say, people, you don't
appreciate greatness, people. Appreciate greatness while you're watching it.
But my list for honorable mentions is definitely Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey. Those two guys are phenomenal in every single facet of the game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So they're honorable mention for me. And my last honorable mention is actually J.K. Dobbins, off of the pure running stand back. And hear me out.
Wow!
Last year,
I didn't notice that was gonna happen. Like
listen.
No.
You have a run heavy offense. Last 8 games, he rushed for over 600 yards at one of the best yards per carry clip at 5.2, and had 8 touchdowns in those games. As a rookie, he's now going to go in as the starter. Still sharing a little with Gus Edwards, but he can really do a lot of great things for us. Just saying. But going on to my list. Number 3, got to be Alvin Kamara. I'm sorry. If we're going off of the running back and what I think they can do going into next year, they're going to have to lean on him a lot more with no Drew Brees. Jameis Winston, or even if Taysom Hill is in there, he's still going to be a very, very big focal point, whether it be in a passing game or in the running game. Think of how many times there was just a check down and he made something out of nothing. The guy is still going to be an integral part of that Saints offense. So, Alvin Kamara, yeah.
Chris had to do it. He just had to.
Go, Bama, roll tide, and go. You know what I'm saying?
Here we go.
That's it. Bama, Michigan. That's it. I don't care.
I'm going to go ahead and throw the second one out there. For the state back, Dalvin Cook, number 2 for me. Listen here. This guy was electric. He can run people over. He can run by you. And the guy is an animal out of the backfield. He's showing that he truly has those great receiver skills that he flashed a little bit in college. And I love the way they're using him. And now with him, Justin Jefferson, and Adam Thielen all coming back, that is a great trio of guys to have as weapons for Kirk Cousins. You can also add on Irv Smith Jr. I really like that tight end coming up. And hey, I'm just saying, putting that name out there. Number 1 for me, and this is purely off of production. And one major thing that happened in all season. Number 1 going in is Derrick Henry. I'm sorry. The man's coming off of 2,000 yards. And he wasn't that close until the last 2 or 3 games when he said, you know what, I'm going to go get it. And when it got that 2,000-yard mark while leading the league again in rushing. And now you give him Julio Jones on the outside to go along with A.J. Brown. There is no disrespect to Corey Davis, who is an adamant and good starting wide receiver in the league. But he's no Julio Jones. And now you have to pick your poison. Are you going to double Julio, double A.J. Brown, or are you going to get those 2 single covered and try to stop Derrick Henry? That's going to be the conundrum for a lot of teams going into next year. And Derrick Henry, problem solved. That's simple. He's going to get what he's going to get.
I would listen. Titans versus Dolphins is because you got two corners that can cover man up. That's man look.
It would be great if all the teams stayed the same. All the teams stayed the same. Yes, I like that one. I like that one right there. I like that one.
Darius, you ready to go? Let's go.
I'm gonna start with my honorable mentions. Honorable mention: Daniel Jones. Come on, guys. Y'all saw what he did against Philly. Y'all saw what he did against the Eagles.
wheels.
Y'all saw what he did. Another one.
Darius, hold on. Darius, did you see the end of that play though?
I did. That's not. We gotta talk about the beginning. We know what happened at the end. But the beginning, he had the real another
flash, man.
All right. Okay. All right.
Nah, all jokes aside, man, and this is gonna be biased, but I think what he did last year, I really love to see it. Damian Harris, man, I'm being a homer. I think he's gonna have a breakout year. I think last year we saw some glimpse.
Time out. This honorable mention.
Yeah, it's honorable mention. It's not top 3. Yeah, it's honorable mention. I wasn't. Oh God, I'm not there. I'm not there.
I'm not there with honorable mention.
In my top 3, but no, honorable mention Damian Harris. I think last year, when he actually got his chance to play, he performed very, very well. The Patriots, what they're going to try to do is this season, they're going to be a run-first team, play off the play action, double tight end sets, and I think Damian Harris, he's going to have a chance to eclipse over 1,200 rushing yards just because of that offensive line. That offensive line, the Patriots, again, not to be biased, they have one of the best offensive lines in the game right now, and I think he's going to be he's gonna have a great.
No, we're not being. I did not include Mike Davis at all. I didn't say honorable mention.
You
did say Mike Davis.
No. I said I wanted to. I never mentioned him as an honorable mention or in the top 3. I said I wanted to. I did not go home.
Technicalities.
Anyway.
All right. David Harris, I think he's gonna have a breakout year. So my top, me and your top 3 are the same. I think Derrick Henry, like you said, pick your poison. You're either gonna stack the box or you're going double coverage. Derrick Henry gonna get his. No matter what you do, Derrick Henry is going to get his. And towards the end of the season, you saw him really start to become that receiving, kind of start to get in that move where he was trying to catch passes out the backfield. Now, obviously, it's going to take some work, but during the season and the offseason training camp, if he can really get that down, come on, man. No one's stopping him. You got to really pick your poison. Dalvin Cook, the guy that helped me almost win my fantasy championship game, make it to the championship game. I'm sorry. During the season, beginning of the season, this guy was the best running back. If not the best, it was him and Derrick Henry. The guy was going out there and putting up over 100 yards almost every single game. Every time you seen the Vikings score a touchdown, it was because of Dalvin Cook scoring over for a touchdown, either if it was 1 yard from the 1 yard line or if he ran for 60 yards. So that he's just that good, and he's good and as a receiving back. And then Alvin Kamara, it doesn't matter who's the quarterback, he's going to get his. I think no matter what, he's still a threat. He's still somebody. When you game plan against the Saints, you're going to circle Alvin Kamara. You're still going to be like, doesn't matter who's throwing the ball. It could be a simple check down. It could be a screen. It could be you can line him up on the outside. He's going to catch the ball, and he's going to make something happen. I agree with Avery with the honor mention, but I'm going to throw Saquon Barkley in there just because I think he has something to prove, right? He's kind of I don't know if he's in a contract. He's kind of in a contract year where the Giants have the option to pick up his 5th-year option. And if he can somehow go out there and rush for over 1,500 yards, now the ball's in their court, like, yo, you're going to have to extend me. You know what I mean? So I think he's going to go out there. He's going to prove himself well. And you saw the picture of his calves. Them things are huge. Like, I think those things are, like, huge, man. But I think he's going to go out there. Nick Chubb, obviously, he's another guy you kind of got to watch out just because it's Nick Chubb, right? Like, he said something that really resonated me. You don't see commercials for Lamborghini. Or it was something like that. The guy is just that good, and he's quiet. He's a silent assassin. So I think he's another honorable mention.
All right. Let me get mine in real quick. You guys didn't mention one of my guys, and then Chris actually mentioned one of my guys. So we're gonna get into that. But I'm gonna do my honorable mention because I gotta shout out my guy Nick Chubb. I love Nick Chubb. I wanted the Eagles to get him. I love Nick Chubb. That's my guy. It does suck that he has some injuries. It does suck that he got Kareem Hunt there as well. And then the Browns are actually kind of been trying to lean to the passing game just a little bit more. So, I still think he's one of those guys, but I'm going to mention him. I'm also going to mention Saquon. The only reason I don't have him in my top 3, I'm having him just outside my top 3 because he's coming off not one, but 2 injuries in 2 years. It's the only reason. So I gotta see how it goes with him. But I do hope the best. And another reason I don't have him in my top 3 because he killed my Michigan, he killed my Eagles. Like I gotta bump him down a little bit. It hurt both my teams almost every year. So I gotta bump him down just a little notch. But I'm a big Saquon fan. I am a big Saquon fan. I was actually hoping the Eagles got him. We wasn't terrible enough to get him that year. Actually, I think that was the Super Bowl year I wanted him, and we won the Super Bowl the year before. So, yeah.
We gave y'all that Super Bowl.
I'll take the Super Bowl. But, yeah, I had to mention the Super Bowl. All right, let's get into my top 3. My number 3 guy, none of y'all guys mentioned him. And no, Chris, no love for Zeke. He said no love for Zeke. No.
Honorable mention. I think he's gonna have a bounce back year too. I think
he got to work to get his.
He got to look.
He got to get back top.
Hot take. His backup might be getting some more carries this year. Mr. My man from Mr. Tony Pollard. Yeah, Tony Pollard been looking good lately. Might be taking a little bit more, a little bit more carries from him. But I'm gonna say my number 3 guy is a guy that you guys didn't mention at all. He just got a new contract. His quarterback might not. He's gonna play. He's gonna play this year. I'm writing this down. Pen. He's gonna play for this team, but it's gonna be some transition because he's probably not gonna. He might not be at training camp. I don't know. But my man Aaron Jones. I'm sorry, I said Aaron Don. Aaron Jones from Green Bay Packers. Y'all guys been sleeping on him. And he just got a new contract. He got competition now with the what's his name? I think he played better with competition. You know what I mean? You seen the first couple years.
It's the choir master himself too.
Yeah. Listen, Aaron Jones, man, you guys be sleeping on him. Each year he's very productive, and I think they're gonna lean on him a little bit more this year. And they always do lean on him when it starts getting a little bit colder too. So Aaron Jones, man,
ain't nobody sleeping. But would you rather have Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, or the guys that we mentioned? That's all we're saying. Like, because there's a ton of backs that are really good that you can mention, like Christian McCaffrey, like you said, Aaron Jones. I mean,
but this is my guy for 2021, man. A 2021 guy. My number 2 guy is a guy I love, and I got to watch him play at in the Big Ten as well. My man Jonathan Taylor, Mr. Chris Thomas mentioned him. I have him at number 2. I think he's gonna have an incredible year. He got 1 year in his belt. He ended 2020 on a really high note. You guys already know about the Colts offensive line, really good offensive line. Now they got Carson Wentz that's going to take some pressure off the running game a little bit. I think they're going to rely on the running game a lot more this year too, because of Carson Wentz. So I think that he's going to have a really good year. And obviously my number 1 guy is Christian McCaffrey. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. Yes, he was injured last year, but he came back from his injury last year. So I think that gonna work better with him rather than a Saquon or anybody else any other the running backs that kind of got injured and didn't come back. So that's my top 3 list right there. Anybody have something to say about that?
Different, but I could see it.
Okay, appreciate it.
Honestly,
my only concern is the Jonathan Taylor if he starts slow again. That's my only concern, but
he was a rookie though last year. Now he got the 1 year under his belt. Got training camp now this year because COVID last year. So it's a different year now. I think he's gonna be Jonathan Taylor in college, man. That boy, it was crazy. That boy was crazy. So I like Jonathan Taylor. I think he's gonna be top 3 running back this year.
I honestly think another honorable mention. Like I think he's gonna have a really good year, especially because they got weapons on the outside now, and their quarterback. If he can come back at 100% and be healthy, Joe Mixon really might have a really good year because it'll be less pressure on him. But we'll see.
And it's actually improved line.
Marlon Mack is jump. Yeah, Taylor's definitely gonna eat, man.
No. Marlon Mack.
Marlon Mack is back. But yeah, he is.
That's what worries me about Jonathan Taylor. If he starts slower, they're gonna start putting Mack back in, and have him take over again? Or are they going to try to continue to feed the young guy and Jonathan Taylor?
I think Jonathan Taylor got the job, man. It's his to take. So we'll definitely see. We'll definitely see with that. All right, let's get to our final and last topic, and that's going to be trade ideas for this 2021 season that will shake up the season. I want to know. I'm gonna start with Avery. What trade do you think this season could shake up everything?
I mean, a couple. Aaron Rodgers, right? Let's start there.
That will. The O-line did improve a little bit.
They did improve, but also, like I said, it's because of the weapons on the outside. That's why I led with that. The weapons on the outside, I think it's going to bode well because you can't bring as many people in the box. And so the offensive line doesn't have to be as good because I'm assuming they won't have to make as many adjustments because teams won't be able to drop the safeties down as much. It'll probably be more generic 4 to 5 man rushes than anything. So I think that's the reason Joe Mixon as a wild card, dark horse potentially could have a really good season. But as far as like the trades, like I said, obviously number one, Aaron Rodgers because of him being upset. I could see him being traded, and I wouldn't be surprised like if he get traded to a team like the Washington football team. Could you imagine them with literally the biggest question mark on their roster being filled by one of the best quarterbacks of all time? Like that's going to be scary. I don't think anybody wants to see that, especially seeing that they got some weapons over there as well, and McLaurin and like that. Yeah, that would be a very, very scary mixture.
Harry, don't put that negative air and negativeness in the air. Like, please don't. I don't even think about that.
I'm just saying, man. And then we'll move on to obviously Deshaun Watson. I don't think the Jets are actually in the running anymore. I mean, would they want Deshaun Watson over Zach Wilson? Probably, but because they spent so much on him, they might be like, let's stick with our guy and see what we can get. But I can see Deshaun Watson, getting traded to a team like.
There we go. There we go.
I was gonna say, he brought up one of the teams.
Darius, just to be quiet, Darius. Don't even comment back.
Chris actually brought up the teams I was going to say for Deshaun Watson, either the Broncos or the Bears. I could see him getting traded to either one of those teams. Now I'm kind of skeptical on the Bears because they have Justin Fields, but if you allowed Deshaun Watson to go there, I think that Justin Fields and Deshaun Watson would be just a player trade. You may not even need to do anything else. I think because they potentially with their skill set and different things like that, it's a shot in the dark, but I would consider more of the Broncos than anything. And then last but not least, it's not really a shakeup, but I could see that the Browns, if they felt that they don't necessarily need this guy because they don't necessarily need this guy, I could see Kareem Hunt getting traded, and there's to a plethora of different teams. I could see him going to the Patriots. I could see him going to the Broncos. I could see him going to the Raiders and being a spell back for Josh Jacobs because right now that's one of the things I think the Raiders are missing is a guy who can be a dominant threat out the backfield catching the football. Josh Jacobs with tackles are phenomenal, but we'll see. You say that again?
Oh, they'll have that now. They went and signed Kenyon Drake in the offseason.
Oh, I forgot about Kenyon Drake. But again, would you rather have Kenyon Drake or Kareem Hunt? So, it'll be interesting to see. And then finally, my last one. I don't know where he would go. Jimmy Garoppolo. I just don't know if he stays on the San Francisco 49ers team. I don't know where you would trade him to. I mean, you could trade him to the Washington football team. I don't think that they would do that. I actually probably would. I'd rather have Fitzmagic. You could trade him to, another team that might just need a quarterback to step in. If he's not healthy, you could trade him to Cincinnati. If Joe Burrow isn't healthy at the beginning of the season. Like I said, I don't know where you would trade him to, but I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, Darius, who you got, man?
Avery stole mine. Obviously, I think the main one was Aaron Rodgers, right? No matter where he go, he gonna shake up the NFL just because he's that good of a player, and he's Aaron freaking Rodgers, right? This is a guy who can make the Hail Mary pass look like a complete normal pass, right? So Aaron Rodgers is one. Another one, I don't know if this really would shake it up, but I think it could make a little bit of noise. Amari Cooper. I think if the Dallas Cowboys decide that they want to trade him just because they saw what they got in CeeDee Lamb, you got Michael Gallup, and you want to, go defensive, right? Like if you do a player trade, if Miami wants to, and fair a long shot, but if Miami says, hey, we'll give you Xavier Howard for Amari Cooper, and then we'll throw in like a 3rd round pick, and that's it. But I think Amari Cooper would make a little bit of noise just because this is a guy who's a top 15 receiver in the league, top 15, top 10 wide receiver in the league when healthy, and he can contribute to, I think, any team. So I think that's a player who would make some noise. Deshaun Watson, we know with his situation, again, he's another guy. Wherever he goes, it's gonna make headlines. Russell Wilson, I think we haven't seen the last of the trade rumors. I personally think after this offseason, there's a chance, or during the middle of the season, that Seattle might, if they get another offer like how Chicago is, and the team is talking that talk, they might be able to make that move. But those are a couple of guys who I think really would. And then a wild horse, a guy who's just been in trade speculation ever since he got traded, Odell Beckham Jr. Right? I think if he gets traded, I've seen a landing spot, the Green Bay Packers. Right? That'll keep Aaron Rodgers. If you trade, you got him, you got Devontae Adams. Just imagine what that offense can do, right? Just imagine that's an automatic Super Bowl contender team right there, just because you got Odell and you got Devontae Adams, and then you have the running back, and your defense is young, and your defense is pretty good, especially down the stretch. They don't even have the caps. Never mind. And then one more. If it happens, I don't think it will, just because it's going to be a little contradiction. If Green Bay feels like they want to get rid of this guy because they don't want to extend him, Devontae Adams, right? I think it's not going to happen, but I've been hearing that Derek Carr's trying to recruit him. They played at Fresno State together. Just imagine Devontae Adams and Henry Ruggs in Oakland and Las Vegas. Just imagine that with Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
Darren, who you got, man?
All right, so we've covered Aaron Rodgers enough. So we all know Aaron Rodgers, anywhere he goes, it is what it is. I have him actually going to the Broncos. I feel like that would be a great spot for him there. With all the weapons he have in offense and defense, that would be the perfect spot for him to try to ride out in the sunset. And John Elway knows what he's doing with older quarterbacks. But
hey, Manny.
So it's just not much you could have did with that one. I'm sorry. It is what it is. But I actually got three that
you would, Chris.
Pick it up with a lot of people in the NFL if this was happening. And it's mainly because of not only the players, but the teams that I have them going to. So first off, Xavier Howard. We all know he's kind of upset at his contract. He might want out. Could you imagine if he goes to the 49ers? Just think about it. Him to the 49ers to replace what Richard Sherman was to that defense, that would make the NFC West one of the hardest, if not, because they're already hard. That might make them one of the best divisions, period. That defense, even with Rob Saleh gone, would be immaculate. Another pick. Full revamp of the defense already, and they can trade one of their guys that they already had, one of their younger guys, to also help compensate for the loss that Miami's going to have when they traded Xavier Howard. The Jaguars. They have a plethora of young guys along with Shaquille Griffin who can now become the second corner, along with Xavier Howard. And if they really want to keep him, you still have C.J. Henderson. You have three basically great corners, and you can trade Trey Hernandez, who's a good slot guy, and allow now with Miami, Trey Hernandez in the slot, and then you have Noah, who was their first-round pick the year prior. Let him go ahead on the outside, along with Byron Jones. See the value there, along with helping for the trade compensation. But the honorable mention for this one, Bills. I know it's not going to happen. I know it. But just imagine Xavier Howard on one side, Trey White on the other side. It's not fair. It's
Dangerous.
not fair, but I don't
Dangerous.
go ahead and make their already in division rivals that much better. But
Dangerous.
The coverages that would happen on that back end with Micah Hyde.
Don't bring it
oh my.
Like Jerome said, don't bring that juju over here in the AFC East. We good over here. Don't bring that over here. Don't bring that negative.
Listen, about that. The disgustingness of that secondary, it would be crazy. But going off the AFC in secondary, Gilmore. We all know Bill Belichick likes to get rid of his corners a year early than a year late. This would be that year before. He's already in a contract year. You already have J.C. Jackson, Jonathan Jones, who are two very excellent corners. And whatever you get from him, that would be great. It's something you can continue to build on and help for next year with Mac Jones.
I'll tell you what.
I got to go. I'll see y'all on the flip side. Many blessings. Matt Ryan for president here.
Oh, man. Here we go.
I'll tell you why. The Gilmore, it just can't work. And I'm not being biased. It's just I read reports that they're not going to trade him, right? They're not going to trade him. And then J.C. Jackson, in my opinion, isn't a true number one corner just yet. He got exposed when Gilmore went down. He got exposed when he was the number one guy. Jonathan Jones, he's a slot guy. He can be or at best number two. J.C. Jackson isn't a number one, and I think Belichick knows that. So that's why he probably didn't make the trade, because I'm pretty sure teams are going to call for Gilmore. Gilmore went on the field. Top 3 corner, top 5, top 3 corner. Regardless, he hurt his quad. The guy is still good, but you gotta make sure when you trade a player of that caliber, you have great insurance. And if you're asking for a 2nd round pick, because that's what teams are gonna give, or a 3rd round pick, again, you got to make sure you have great insurance. And I just don't think J.C. Jackson is a great insurance for a defensive player of the year like Stephon Gilmore. That's just my 2 cents with that situation. Go ahead.
No, I agree that, and this is why these are trade ideas that would
exactly. I watched that game. He got embarrassed. Diggs embarrassed.
Diggs is a different animal, though. Diggs is definitely a different animal, though.
Yeah. Oh, but last but not least, another honorable mention, Allen Robinson. And just hear me out. Allen Robinson player swap for Devontae Parker.
Why are you bringing that juju to them in that division? I just said don't do it.
Because I like
keep doing
the things that the Bills and the Miami Dolphins have at their disposal to do and play around with.
Bears will be
some of the most
dumb to do that.
I'm just saying.
They were going to trade 3 first-round picks for Russell, so I don't know, man.
Listen,
I don't know.
Just hear me out here. Just hear me out. If they get rid of Xavier Howard, they're freeing up the money right there for Allen Robinson's next contract. Allen Robinson has shown to be a way more productive receiver than Devontae Parker has. He is more consistent. He is more aggressive at the catch point. Devontae Parker may be a bit faster, but if it's talking about preference and having a guy that's going to be a true security blanket and a number one all-out guy for a young quarterback in Tua, I would take Allen Robinson over Devontae Parker.
Allen Robinson, Will Fuller. That's
you realize there's 2 teams in the trade, right?
Listen, Devontae Parker is still a young. Listen, Devontae Parker is still under contract now, and if he was to get traded, Devontae Parker with Justin Fields, the speed, I like it. I like it there. I'm not saying that both teams will win, but not all trades both teams.
We need a drug test. Like Christian, we need to start drug testing at the company. We got it got to be a recommendation in the beginning.
Listen, man, listen.
It has to be.
We said trade ideas that will shake up the NFL.
They ain't gonna shake nothing.
That will shake up.
Yeah.
But he's still gonna be on the field.
He'll be on the field for 6 games.
My guy, you guys already mentioned him, man. I like to go outside the box. I'm kind of mad both of y'all guys mentioned him. But the guy had 10 interceptions last year when Byron Jones got on the team. He don't need an elite cornerback to be opposite of him. But imagine him getting traded to a team that needs a number 2 corner that has a ton of money next year. This year, it's kind of They got a ton of money next year.
Here we go.
Like, hey, we're going to give you an extension, but we're not going to include 2022. We're going to include next year, and we're going to front load that baby and give you a lot of money. Bring his Xavier to the Eagles. Bring his Xavier to the Eagles.
I knew it.
Him and Slade, let's go. Come on, Chris. Come on. Back me up on this. Back me up on this. This is such a good idea.
Right now. He just sent it. It got to come through.
Listen here. I still like Howard and White better than Slade and Howard.
I agree with you. But a team that really needs a number 2, have been needing a number 2 for a while. Obviously, a team that their defense kind of needs a cornerback, another cornerback. The division got all these receivers now, and Cowboys got 3. The Giants just got Galladay. The Washington, they got some
Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel, and we need a number 2, man.
Yep.
My man wants some extra money. We got a ton of it next year.
The next year,
please. We got capital. We got 3 first-round picks next year.
That's your selling point to him, to the team.
It might work for the Dolphins. The Dolphins are already loaded up on their picks.
Chris, I need you to comment back on that. What do you feel? How you feel, my man? I need some Eagle love. Bring that.
He's typing it. He's typing it in right now. You gotta let us in.
That might work out for the Dolphins. Dolphins can get their pick right back from you guys.
And the Dolphins, they love trading their star players for picks. Larry Tunsil, they traded him like, go ahead. We'll ship you out. Just give us a first-round pick. Give us a first-round pick.
We'll one of the best examples of that. The guy has been an absolute beast since he's been on the Steelers. And
literally. So it's possible. It's possible.
I'm just saying, like, it makes sense, man. Like, hey.
Tell Howie to call him right. Tell Howie to call him right now. Send him a tweet and tell him to get on the phone.
Nah, you can't just blind just say that name like that, man. You can't just can't say that name like that. Like, come on,
there it is.
You just can't just throw the name out there. But Fire Howie will be Hire Howie. If he does something like this.
Nah, all of a sudden, you see how quick the tables turned there?
Oh, man, the switch up.
You see how quick the tables turned there? And now it's Hire Howie. Keep Howie.
It's the switch up.
He does that.
You know what?
Hey, you go from Fire Howie to Hire Howie. It got a little ring to it. Hire Howie got a little ring to it. But where you at? But guys, that's gonna do it for us today, man. We always have our bias opinions and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, we like to have fun here, and I always have fun with my guys here. So thank you guys for tuning in with my man Darren and Darius. Man, you guys are the best. I ain't Drum Jones. As you guys already know, make sure you go follow us on InsideTheHashes.com, where you can find all our content. We got this podcast, we got the RPO podcast, we got fancy football coming up. My guys gonna be in it. They're gonna be duking it out. Let me see who's gonna win. Who's gonna get that championship? Who's getting that championship this year?
I'm not gonna say no. I'm gonna be humble. I'm gonna be humble this season. I'm not even gonna trash talk.
No speaking. All action this year.
I'm humble. Okay. Humble this season.
Okay. But we're gonna have the fancy league going on again this year, so make sure you guys following. See if one of these guys gonna be up there. I think Derrick was in like 3rd place last year, right?
I came in 3rd. Yeah, I believe I lost to the who won. I lost to him, and he beat Juan.
Yeah.
Well, I came in 3rd. First,
you know what? Yeah, you know one was kind of kicking out during the regular season. Then the playoffs came in. Things. It was a good.
I did what the Falcons did. I blew a lead. It's okay.
No drafting with the heart this year. That's all.
Okay. No drafting. Darren had all Ravens on his team. His team was
drafted with the heart. It bit me in the butt. It was okay.
You can't draft Lamar with the first pick.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson in the 1st round.
Can't do that. Maybe a 3rd round when it's time for Lamar. Maybe 3rd
round. Definitely go check us out on InsideTheHashes.com. Also check us out on social media. Inside the Hashes on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And make sure you check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, where we have tons of player interviews on there. So make sure you go check that out. And also, if you're not on YouTube and you have not subscribed yet, do it. Do it right now. Subscribe to that baby, because we are live on there all the time. And if you don't know when we are live, you hit that notification button and you know when we're live. And also, if you can't watch it live, because we know not everybody can watch it live. You go back and watch it on our YouTube channel. And you can, if you want to make a comment, or if you want to put comments in there, put the comments in the comment section below. We will react to them and, comment back on them, and any questions you think, Darius is just being ridiculous, or Darren is just, being a homer, just let us know, 350, hashtag 350. Hashtag 350 in the comments.
We gotta get shirts.
We do.
One episode, just go like this during the season. That's all we gotta do.
You know what? I would probably wear my hashtag 350 once he throws his 350. Second game of the year, people. It is.
Okay.
Second game of the year.
We're gonna have throwback. We're gonna have to bring back Throwback Thursday, man. We're gonna bring that back again. So, guys, make sure you go check us out each week. We're on every Thursday, so make sure you check us out. We're gonna be doing this thing until the season comes up, and when the season comes, it's gonna come and go down. So make sure you check us out each week. So I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones. As I already mentioned, we got Darius Riddick right there. We got Darren Braxton right down here. Thank you guys for being in the chat. Thank you guys for checking us out. We'll see you next week, and hope you have a good one. Peace.